Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Thursday, September 18, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a reverse aging health call tomorrow night, Friday, after 9:15 p.m. Eastern, and all the rest. You want to make sure you're in a comfortable position, relaxed into the body, no outside distractions. Still as a statue, focused on your breath, rising and falling. This planet in the outer rim of the Milky Way galaxy, close to the sun, is experiencing a transition of major proportion from a low-frequency, piled-high debris of ego mind to a higher, much higher ascension into spirituality and God-planet paradise. Period. And we're in the middle of it. We're right in it. We're right in the thick of things. Now, there's a lot of people that do not even have an inkling about any of that. They're the ones that are still mired in ego mind, trying to protect their egos, lashing out violently and disruptively on a continual basis. What agitates that? There is a primer for everything. What agitates that? Well, in ego mind, it is an insatiable need to protect oneself. And a lot of the times it's by lashing out. It's unconscious reaction. And the primer is higher vibrational frequencies. That's what agitates it. When you have goodness, love, compassion, that is at a growth cycle exponentially on the planet in its entire history, it's going to disrupt the underlayment of pure evil, demon possession. And as a watcher and observer, remember, not a judger. You're in heart mind when you're watching everything. You leave the ego mind alone, and you reside in heart mind, like we do in these meditations. And you watch, and you observe, and you see on what transpires. And as you see all these things that are occurring, what do they involve? Confrontation, disagreement, irritation, anger, frustration, hatred, all of these things. Harm, reckless abandon. Now, if you were to look at this country, on what's transpiring, it becomes very apparent where we would focus our attention. Where would we focus our attention in this very now moment? On the now. On bliss, on joy, on love. Intensify it. Expand it. Have it radiate out all over the place, 360 degrees. By doing this, then one might say, well, won't that irritate even more? Some ways it will. It's like, have you ever experienced like the sound of like sandpaper on a chalkboard? Something like that. That just kind of You know what I mean? It really is irritating, and you say, no, don't do that. I really don't care for that. That's what this is. This is a constant irritation and upheaval and dismissal and eradication of pure evil on this planet. This is what we're experiencing. And if you'll notice, it's accelerating. The more love and the more bliss and the more joy that you embrace within yourself, and you send that out onto the planet, pure evil is going to become highly agitated and then eventually exhaust itself and disappear. That's not wishful thinking. That's happened in many different planetary systems throughout all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And it's happening here on this planet. And this is what you're witnessing. Now, a lot of it, as you're watching it, you go, wow, this is really bizarre. And it is. Because there are those who were stone cold asleep that through all this, after the last, 8-9 years, have become much more aware because of what they view. It's a programming, right? But in a different direction. Where does that come from? The God within. Whatever you want to call it, higher self, spirit, it's all one. But the God within. Communicating with you on a continual basis. And the topper to this is that we all are pretty darn savvied on how things have operated on this planet for a very long time. You know, death, destruction, evil, tremendous lack of compassion, caring for oneself, and for all other things, all other beings, and all other things. And see, now when that's been set in place, the compilation of all of these frequencies for a long time. So they are like sedentary. They're so used to being in charge and controlling and money, power, control. Right? And now that is being systematically disintegrated. And on some levels, there are those that still are very stubborn and just do not care to cooperate. Well, after communication with them, they decide to cooperate. Will we, because some people ask, will we digress back into the dark soup? No, this is a permanent thing. This isn't, for it'll be 1,000 years and then it'll go back into the hell in a handbasket. No, this is permanent. This planet is being lifted out of the crap and the garbage. And our direction, obviously, is continually going within, focusing on the now, heart-mindedness, and leaving the ego mind alone and surrendering and forgiving all avenues about ourselves with the God that we are. Every aspect of ourselves. See, because it does start with us. It starts with you. It begins with you, and then it expands out. So doesn't it make sense that you're happy, you begin to feel lighter, happier, much more joyous? All of this you're tapping into within yourself, not out there. And believe it or not, all of us have become masters of the low vibrational frequencies, of experiencing them and interacting with them, suffering, pain, dissatisfaction, disappointment, all of those things, lifetime after lifetime, struggle. And it is interesting because, see, now we don't have yet, we do not have as I've always said, a comparison. We don't. We have this world. We have the way we have come in, have lives, come back in, have more lives, and so on and so forth. But pretty much the world is about the way it's been for quite a long time. Now we're experiencing through ourselves the expansion and transformation of goodness, compassion, love, eternal bliss, joy, because we're ascending. We're moving away knowingly, not unconsciously or subconsciously. We are knowingly moving away from that existence. You know, wars and conflicts and disagreements, arguments, harm. You know, because actually this planet's moving into a completely different existence of doing no harm to anything whatsoever. Period. Now, obviously, we've all been taught that, for the most part, on this planet, we've all been taught that the God is outside of us. I mean, from childhood, we have been taught that. And this has gone on for generations. This has gone on for millennia. So it's pretty deep-seated in the civilization. But then there are those who are now waking up and saying, that's not true. That's totally off base because we are the gods. There is not one God. And a lot of people believe there is one God. Now, you could say that all of us make up the one. Okay? But yet all of us are creators, gods, okay? Pure consciousness, spirit, higher self, you go on and on and on. And we collectively make up prime creator source, the God. Whatever name you choose to label it with. Pure, deep, eternal love. And that's how it operates. That's easy, see, to be able to twist that and influence a civilization for a very long time, that there is a separate entity outside of yourself. There's a separate entity. You, like I have shared, are weak and small and not powerful. That's how the dark influences have contained the civilization of this planet pretty much in an container, to put it lightly, and programmed and directed and trained and for a very long time. You can see why there's so much separation, of illusion of a separation, and not unity, not togetherness, not love for oneself and all things. Because this is a constant, it's a harassing, irritating energy and frequency that pulls us down. And it operates through the insecurities of the ego mind. Now, when we gravitate, we decide for ourselves that we're going into higher frequency. We create that higher frequency. No one creates it for you. See, the longevity is within us of love and bliss and peace and tranquility and happiness and joy. That's our true state of being. It's not out there. Sometimes, you'll come across something, you get happy, and it fades, and then you look for something else to fill that, and then you're happy, and then you're disappointed. And it's kind of like across the board. That's how it happens. And it's a constant because every lifetime we do that. And why is that? Well, it's because we don't know who and what we are, and most of us don't care to go there to discover who and what we are. So it's easier to embrace the material physical world, right? Spirit occupies and creates life. It's easier. Isn't that amazing? It's easier to live that way than it is through our natural state of being, through heart-mindedness, through peace, gentleness, kindness, humbleness. That's tough for us to shift into that frequency. And actually, it should be a cinch for us, since it is our natural state of being. But the challenge is that we've not practiced it much at all. We haven't practiced it at all, hardly at all. We have practiced for generations, millennia, our unnatural state of being, which is what? Well, ego mind, attachment, expectations, all those things. None of us are exempt from them. And then, we get irritable, we get frustrated. As long as we stay in ego mind, we will suffer. And we will never discover who and what we are, as long as we stay in ego mind. So that could be millions of lifetimes. And you ask yourself, do I really want to have millions of lifetimes before I discover who and what I am? See, talking about it with yourself is halfway there, because you're actually identifying it and addressing it. You're not ignoring it anymore. You're embracing it. And we all know that if you aren't, it doesn't. We argue this with our ego minds, but if you don't love yourself, you are not going to love anybody else, no matter how hard you try. If you don't deeply internally love yourself, all of you, all parts of you, and you've surrendered and forgiven yourself for all things, deeply and eternally, how would you actually believe that you would have a loving, intimate, deep, eternal relationship with anything or anyone? That means yourself. And we have that as a constant. It isn't every now and then, it's constant. But talking about it and identifying it without judgment just says, okay, so it's each one of our decision to go into heart-mindedness and to practice staying there. What is that? That's the now. That's the now moment in heart-mindedness, in peace, and tranquility, in silence. It's why we have these meditations. These meditations have been designed to send out higher-level frequencies that saturate all avenues and everyone who participates and listens to them. Now, you can identify them. Why else would I do this for 8 years, 365 days a year? It's part of assisting the civilization through its ascension into high spiritual existence, right? And a God-planet paradise. And this is the root element that opens us up to embracing these things that normally the ego mind would keep us away from, lifetime after lifetime, which it has done an excellent job doing. But see, we cannot function this way anymore. It doesn't work. And a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people that have said that to me. It doesn't work anymore. Might have for a long time, but more and more people are finding out it's not that comfortable anymore. And we're gravitating to our natural state of being on many different fronts. It could be very small, but bit by bit, bite by bite, we're transitioning. We're viewing things differently. Okay? We aren't getting irritated or upset like we used to over really minuscule things. We just aren't. And we identify that and we acknowledge it. So we're not in conflict. We're the opposite. We're embracing it. And it's our decision. Nobody else's. So in that way, you can actually feel the progress, feel the expansion, transitioning from this it almost feels like primordial, third-dimensional, heavy-duty frequencies into lightness, deep eternal love for oneself and all things, great compassion and sensitivity with ourselves and each other, reverence, respect. I mean, a whole different way of existing, in tune with our spirit, our God, the God that we are. And no longer fighting life, but embracing it and enjoying it in ecstasy and exuberation. And this is why more and more people are focusing on what they want. And greed's not there. Doesn't exist. The insecurity begins to drain away that the ego mind manufactures. And many of us don't know this, but our frequencies are becoming more enlightened, more advanced, higher, but it's very tiny, and it's a step-by-step process, so we don't pick it up as clearly as we could, but we're transitioning. We're not interested in that old earth anymore. We're very grateful for the experiences of all the lifetimes, but we're not interested in it anymore. We've learned a lot, massive amounts. You will remember all your past lives, right? As you transition into heart-mindedness, once that's there, and ego mind has become no more, then all of that will open up. And there's no fooling it, there's no shortcutting it, there's no guessing, there's no faking. It's the real enchilada. The transition is there. It opens up a whole new view of your past life for the first time. So all your memories come back and everything. But that won't happen until you've done those things first. You carry that amnesia. What about the creatures that have created all this? That won't be an influence any longer. So you'll embrace your past lives because you'll be in heart-mindedness. You'll be living in the now. You won't have that ego mind, causing you to worry, stress, fear, freak out at some of your past lives. You'll embrace these. Those are lives that you have had. And any things that you did in those lives, you will forgive them. And also embrace the things that were wonderful and influential and affected many. This is why focusing every day on the now, in deep gratitude, in deep eternal love, on a continual basis, moves us into higher and higher and higher frequency, which transitions us out of the old earth and the goopiness into new earth. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath. In through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Relaxed into your body. Focused on your breath, rising and falling. Enlightenment comes from consciously being in touch with the core of your experience. This core is where we evolve our consciousness. For today, search for the central core of your experience. This means that you drop out of your head and into your body, feeling what is truly happening inside it. Bring your attention into the center of your body throughout the day and welcome whatever shows up in there. Feel your heart and belly deeply, more so than ever before. Let this begin the path inwards, where you discover the core of self-realization. Explore what it's like to truly live and breathe each breath, being in touch with the center of your being. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, the following morning. We'll return here Friday, September 19, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call, and after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our reverse aging health call and all the rest. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's happening within you or outside of you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.